friends. Let's just try and get this right for once in our lives. How are you guys? It's good to see you. It's been a crazy weekend trying to get ready for this. Hang on one second. I'm getting my laptop situated so that, let's see, I can make sure that I can see the chat. Let's see. All right. Okay. Make sure that I don't get any background noise. Hi, Jan. Hi, Mary, Keisha. You guys can all hear me. Hi, Shell. Hi, Gwen. It's good to see you guys. It's been a busy week. So, hopefully, gosh, you know, every single time. I got some new filming equipment. Hang on one second. Let me grab something really quick. Okay. Sorry about that. I got some new filming equipment, and now I just have to figure out how to use it. Yeah, so I got an extra camera and some stuff so that I don't have to stick my hands in front of the screen as much. We have, for those of you that don't know, we launched our Craft and Connect community on School a couple of weeks ago. And this weekend we are doing some giveaways in our community, and you can join it for free. And we're giving away some gift certificates. We're giving away one $100 gift certificate to the Hip Kit Club's shop, one $50 gift certificate, and two $25 gift certificates. And all of the details on how to participate can be found in our post in our community. And there is a link in the description box below so that you can find how to, or it'll allow you to link directly to our community, and you can join up and see everything that's going on. In addition to that, this weekend we have a huge back to school sale at our Hip Kit Club shop, hipkitclub.net. And we have lots of great deals between 30 to 70% off. So yeah, so if you haven't had a chance to shop yet, be sure you head over. I think we are going to extend it till tomorrow evening, because I forgot that it was, well, I wasn't paying attention. I forgot it was Labor Day weekend. So we decided to extend it an extra day. So yeah, and hopefully a lot of you had a chance to shop already and were able to pick up a bunch of stuff that you've had your eye on. So we're going to do some fun stuff today. So a little bit more about our new community. It's super fun. We've got a great group of people, and just a little bit of backstory on why I started it, or what kind of motivated me to start it. I just feel like we've all needed, whoops, I'm getting notifications on my phone. I just feel like we've all needed a better way of being able to connect with one another. We all used to get that in person when we all had local scrapbooking stores that were nearby. And, you know, back in the day when I started scrapbooking, and, you know, It was very, very early on, kind of before the mad rush of all of the different manufacturers happened. I had a shop that was near where I lived in Portland. And so I took a few classes. I ended up teaching some classes for them. And I would go to crops, and I just found that it was a great way to get to know other, just people that were into scrapbooking and paper crafting and just being creative in general. And so in 2002, we moved from Portland to the Seattle area. And once we moved here, I really wasn't able to find that same kind of a place. So I decided to open one. And in 2006, we opened Hip to Be Square here in Snoqualmie. And we were open for 5 years. And at the same time, we also started the Hip Kit Club. So the Hip Kit Club started in, I think, early 2007. And I was kind of juggling both. I had young kids, but one of the things that I enjoyed so much about having my store was that I was able to visit with people on a regular basis. You know, I had people coming into my store. We hosted crops. I hosted weekend getaway retreats, and just that ability to be able to spend time with other people, share your ideas, share your projects, learn about different kinds of products, techniques, and all that kind of good stuff, was one of the big draws. And I think that I noticed after closing our store, and I'm sorry, you guys, I'm like sweating like crazy. It's warm in here. Maybe Bob will hear this and he'll go get me a fan. He's supposed to be watching our chat. So anyway, so in 2011, we closed our store to focus on our Hip Kit Club, and I needed to get like a better work-life balance, which I did. But at that time, we started leaning heavily toward social media for that, for those connections. And I think early on it worked okay, but I feel like over time it's just become so oversaturated with so much content of all kinds of different things. So you have creative stuff that's smashed between cat videos and funny baby videos and memes and youth serums and everything else. And, you know, it's just a situation. There's a plug right there. You can just set it on the desk. Perfect. And then plug it in that power strip there. Down on the floor. Anyway, everything gets lost. You know, you post your projects, or you're looking for something, you're looking for inspiration or a specific kind of product or project, and you have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And, you know, sometimes you find it, sometimes you don't, or you post something and it just simply never gets seen. The algorithms and all that kind of stuff are constantly changing, so it's difficult to figure out what time to post your stuff. And that just simply isn't what we all need. And so I think that I've been craving something different for a very long time, and I don't think that I'm alone in that. And so I feel like being able to have a community of people that share the same passion for being creative and having the need to have that creative outlet is just really, really valuable. And so this is what motivated me and inspired me to start this new community. And that's what we're all about. We're about everybody joining together, whether you're novice, whether you're a seasoned scrapper, if you're a simple scrapbooker, if you are somebody that enjoys embroidery, you can join along. It doesn't matter. It's just for all creative people to get together. We'll share our projects and our ideas, and who knows, maybe, there's somebody that is a really talented embroiderer that can teach us all something, and you can translate that into your scrapbook pages. So it's a win-win for everybody. We invite you all and encourage you all to join and jump in. There's a post that shows you how to get started, so you'll want to click on that. There is a 2 videos in there, one that will walk you through and show you how everything is set up and organized, and that will allow you to be able to share your projects and post comments and things of that nature, so that your whatever you post is seen, and people interact with that. The second video shows you how to create your posts. So it'll show you how to create a post with a video embedded in it, a photo, or simply text. And so you'll want to watch those 2 things, and then go ahead and post a little introduction, a little information about yourself. Currently, we're doing a giveaway, and so there's a separate thread for that you'll want to go in, and you'll want to let us know your name and where you're from, and what kind of crafting you do. And then, so when you do that, you'll be entered into our giveaway drawing. And if you post a photo of one of your projects, doesn't matter if it was done today or last week, last month, last year, if you post a photo of a project, you get a second entry. So, and you need to participate and enter into our our giveaway drawing thing by Monday evening, and we'll be announcing our winners on Tuesday afternoon. So that's kind of the overview of our new community, and I think that once you join, I think you're really going to like it. We'll be on my end, I've got designers that will be sharing projects and tutorials and all kinds of things with you all. So you guys can find inspiration in that, and we'll also find inspiration from you. And the other thing too is, if there's something that you're interested in knowing more about, go ahead and post a comment under chit chat, and we always are reading. We read everything, or I read everything, and I can add those things to my list and make a plan to get some of that on our calendar. So without further ado, today we are going to work on our with our June kits, and we're going to do the layouts that were featured on our June project sheet. And so if you ordered and received our June hip kit, you also received this project sheet in your package. Just a couple of things real quick. Our July and August project sheets are both digital, but starting back in September, we'll be including a printed version in your packages. So we'll kind of get started back doing that. I just kind of ran into a time crunch the past couple of months, so I've had a lot on my plate. So anyway, so today we're going to work on this. We've got 3 layouts that we're going to create, and you'll find all of the details in the description box below. And I also included some homework preparation to do ahead of time. And honestly, I did most of it. There's some fussy cutting things that we're going to kind of have to do together as we make these. But yeah. And then for those of you that were able to, where did I put those? To join last week, I don't know what I did with those pages. We did 3 layouts last week. So this will kind of give you an idea. For those of you that didn't join us last week, we did 3 layouts using our May project sheet and our May hip kits. And we made 3 pages. So we made this one. And I think that you guys can see that. And then the second one we did is this one. And then the third one is this one. And I have a little embroidery or stitching to do on this one that I haven't done yet. But I will be taking photos of all 6 layouts, the 3 we're doing today, and then these 3, and I will be sharing them in our community. So you can stay tuned for that, or keep an eye out for that. So without further ado, let's flip my camera, and I'm gonna try not to make you too dizzy. I was trying to be clever and have everything situated so that I didn't have to mess with this, but I do. So hang tight for just a second and I'll get this all set up. Next week, I'm not gonna have to do this. So that's gonna be a beautiful thing. All right, so I want to change this and, okay. Now just a matter of getting this, everything situated so that I can you know what? This is just not too bad, I think. I think we're good. Almost good. You're seeing all of my cords and everything else. You're seeing the hot mess. Okay. Okay, folks. Almost there. Now, let's zoom in a little. Already get this situated so that we can be in frame. I've got this handy dandy little thing that I am going to be able to use and zoom with, which is going to be fabulous. I think we're good. Hopefully you can all see well. I should be in good shape. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, looks good. last week I had my camera going the wrong direction, so when I flipped the camera, everything was backwards and you couldn't read anything. So I think we're good. So we are going to start with layout number 1. And this one, each one of the images here on the front page include all of the products that you need to gather from your June kits to create this page, and then there might be a little bit of instructions here on things that you need to do ahead of time. I did a little bit of this, but the second group of chevrons we'll go ahead and cut together, and I think that maybe somebody will find that helpful. So we will get started with that. This is the paper that we're going to use for our chevron. And the cool thing about this is that depending on like the layout that you are doing, like let's say for this particular one, I wanted all of the yellow and the pink, citrusy colors, but you could easily use the blue and the purple and create a layout that looks completely different. And you'll have this part left over, so you'll be able to use that on a different project. Now, if you don't have the June kits and you're wanting to follow along using the supplies that you have on hand, you can totally do that. It's totally, it's very simple. In the description box below, I included a list of the types of products that you would want to gather from your stash to create along with us. So, so that kind of gives you a little bit of guidance there. But for the products that I'm going to be using are all included in our June kits, and which makes it really easy because everything coordinates together. And it's a beautiful thing. So this is my reminder on where I need to keep things so that you can see what I'm doing. So with this, I cut using my craft knife and a ruler. I cut out each one of the yellow and pink chevrons, and I left a little white border on the edge, and so I did that, and perhaps some of you have already done that, but if you haven't, we'll go ahead and do it here. We'll do the second page, or these second group of chevrons together, and the one thing I have to do is cut the branding strip off this. So make sure I get this straight. All right, branding strip gone, but I do save them. Do you guys save your branding strips? All right, so that's done. So now I've got my craft ruler and my craft knife. I love this thing. I got it years and years and years ago. It's a Fisker's craft knife, but the way that you hold it is slip your finger through it, so the pressure is coming from the top of the craft knife rather than wrapping your hand around and holding it like a pencil. It's, for me, it's a lot easier to maneuver, so I really like it. So what we'll do is we are going to start here. Let's see, let's start on this side. So what I found to be easiest, so that I can make sure that I have this straight, is that I place it And this allows me to kind of gauge where my border is here. Let's see, probably. Okay, so here, and the thing with craft knives, a lot of people get frustrated. The thing that you want to do is less pressure is always better, especially when you're using a craft knife. So the first time you go through, you just kind of barely go through the surface of the paper, and each time you go through a little further. And for one thing, that'll help you from tearing your paper, and it also helps you keep things straight, and you won't move your ruler. And so just using just gentle pressure and going over it, because you kind of create like a little track. After you go through the first time, you create like a little kind of a track like you do on, like you have on your paper trimmer. And so your blade just continues to follow that. And it makes it a lot easier. Takes a little bit more time, but I find that the effect or the result is better if you do it this way. It's not as easy to do it this way when you're like trying to do like a shape or something like that, like a circle, because obviously you're not using a ruler to guide you, so it is more difficult to kind of go over things multiple times with a let's see, I'm gonna do it this way, I think. Okay. So here, and it really doesn't take that long. And some people prefer using a craft knife as opposed to a, just need to make sure I get this corner, as opposed to using fussy cutting scissors, and they just prefer to cut things out that way. But if you have a good sharp pair of fussy cutting scissors, it makes the whole process much easier. So you don't have to fight with them as much, and they flow like you don't get jagged cuts as much. They just kind of, it makes it easier to the scissors themselves cut more smoothly, so you don't get those sharp edges as much. All right, we're almost there. Okay, if I missed any, I'm gonna trim them. With scissors. It would have been a good idea to overshoot this just a little bit. So have you guys done anything fun over the long weekend? For those of us that are in the US, we have a 3-day weekend. The end of summer. Although it's funny, usually the kids here don't start school until after Labor Day. And the other day I was, see, you could use this the way it is, and let's say you wanted to find something that might be blue-ish. I think I've got a blue paper somewhere. Okay. There's a piece of blue cardstock. You could do, look how this paper looks totally different. And then you can build your page from the center here. So anyway, just a little idea for you. But yeah, so we still have that part left, and we can use it on another project. Okay, so now we just need to get these inside edges done. And there, probably just a little trickier because I think, actually, let's do it this way. There's one. We didn't do anything fun for the weekend. Well, actually we did. We've been posting all of the stuff that's happening on our website and in our Craft and Connect community, and that's been really fun. I actually have really enjoyed it. I am going through every single message, and I will be answering each of them personally. There have been so many that it's taking me a little longer than I anticipated, but I promised each of you that you'll be getting a notification as soon as I answer your message. There are so many people. It's funny because everybody's kind of posting on this thread where they're from, and it's interesting because there are a lot of people that live in the same cities, which I think is super cool. Who knows, maybe you're going to find somebody, you'll find a new crafting buddy that lives right around the corner, and that would be super cool, I think. Curious as to how many of you did this ahead of time, and if you did and I'm holding you up, I apologize. I just don't have enough hours in my day these days, and with everything else that I do that I've got going on with Kit Club, now this new adventure is adding, but I'm actually really enjoying it. And I hope that those of you that have had a chance to spend some time there are enjoying it as well. I just think that there's something really cool that is going to come from all of this, and in a much different way than we've seen previously with Facebook and Instagram. And I'll be hosting live stream classes on a regular basis, and I would like to plan some larger events too in the future. That might be a few months down the road, but I think it'd be fun to do like a Christmas card class or a holiday card class. I always think about doing Christmas in July, and doing some holiday projects in July. But I never seem to be able to find time to do that. I know a lot of people start doing holiday crafting in the summer because the holidays are so busy. Quick question. So we adopted, I'm going to do this with scissors. We adopted this kitten. His name is Melvin. He'll probably visit us in a bit, but he was, I think I've talked about him before, but we adopted him. He's now probably about 6 months old. But he has this horrible, horrible habit of, in the middle of the night or early in the morning, he wakes up at about 4, and he comes into our room, and he buries himself under the covers. Then he gets caught up in the sheets, and then he comes out, and he like grabs my face with his paws, and he bites my nose. And I've tried everything to get him to stop. We kick him out every morning because there's just no way to get any sleep if we don't. But anyway, I'm curious. I've never had a cat do this, and I've had a lot of cats in my life. And I'm curious if anybody else has ever had this happen. It's just nuts. Okay, so we've got all of these done. And we have white cardstock for our background, and we've got, my photo printer isn't working, so I've got 3 placeholders for my photos. These are 2 by 3 inch photos, and if you're using a regular, like a Canon selfie or whatever, you can get 3 on each sheet, because I think that they're just a little bit larger than 4 by 6, or the photo paper is just slightly larger than 4 by 6. So anyway, I've got that, and then for those of you who have, we've had a long thread in our Craft and Connect community on how people are storing their kits. And so I store all of my paper and cardstock and larger embellishments. I store in these, they're like a heavy PVC folder. And you can get them that are just flat like these, but you can also get them that get some that are gusseted, which means that the edges and the bottom kind of folds out or expands a little bit. But these work out fine, and they're really inexpensive. I think like $25 for 36 of them or something like that. And they're nice and they're heavy. They don't fall apart. Or rip when you put, because I put a substantial amount of paper in each one, but I store my kits in these, so I put all the paper, the cardstock, and like the larger embellishments like puffy stickers and things like that wouldn't fit in this little zipper pouch in here. And then all of my embellishments and my 6 by 8 paper packs get stored in these little zipper pouches, which is nice. But the cool thing about the zipper pouch, and then I slip it inside that sleeve. But these are cool because they've got little, they've got little labels, so you can mark the year and month of the kit and all that kind of stuff in it, so that you can identify which month the kit is that you're using. So like, for instance, if you happen to like at a sale you happen to go in and grab an extra pack of paper or whatever, and you want to combine it together, you'll be able to, you know, find the right kit and be able to file that along with the other things. So that's kind of a cool thing. But yeah, so we've got lots and lots of fabulous things here. And these are our 6x8 paper packs, which are nice, great for card making, but we're not using those today. So everything that I am using today is included in our main kit. So I'm grabbing this die cut. Actually, I'm gonna empty these out. I got these guys in the dollar spot at Target. I think they were $5 or for like, I think you get a stack of 4, and they stack together, and they're really great because they're large enough that your stuff kind of you can spread it out a little bit so you can see, you can go through it. Because I have some smaller little dishes, but I can never really see what I'm looking for. So like for instance, this is what I want. So grab that, and then I'll set that one aside. Actually, I'm going to do all of these while I'm working with a specific month's kit. I will leave these in these dishes. Nuts. For those of you that have cats, I'm sure that you can relate to this. Get down. Down. Okay. I've lost myself here. Okay. So yeah, these work fabulously. And then these I'll keep. And these, I'm going to show you how to use them. In our project sheet, I show them being used just as they are. But these are super cool. They've got a resist effect on them, so that when you add color, your color will resist. So like this has a tiny little polka dot pattern, so all of the polka dots will remain white, and the color will show up only on the white chipboard. So that's pretty cool too. All right, so there are those. And see, these are cool because you just stack them together. They don't take up a lot of desk space, and then we have a couple of other embellishments as well. So what we need to do here is I am going to mark the center of I'm gonna move these. What happened? Did I lose you guys? Just want to make sure. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't lose you guys. Okay, so I'm going to make just a very, very light pencil mark. That isn't as light as I had hoped it would be, but it's lighter. It's not going to show up anyway, but so that I know where. And I'll do here. As well. This one I'm just going to put in the center here. And this is going to allow me to put my photo, when I put my photos down, to be able to place them properly. So what we'll do here, I'm going to put down our chevron paper pieces, and I want, you don't have to do this, but I'm actually going to add, this is going to annoy me. This is my go-to, friends, for all things dimensional. But I want the little shadow that this is going to give between the chevrons and the background. It'll just add that little extra detail to my layout. And on simple layouts, this is really nice. Just that little extra detail just, you know, can kind of take it to the next level, so to speak. Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to use some liquid adhesive to glue these to my chevrons. And I was going to try, for the sake of time, to use that tape, but it was sticking so badly to my scissors that it wasn't going to be worth the effort. Or it wasn't going to be worth the time savings. So I'm just putting these here. I'm going to do that to each one of these. Curious as to what kind of adhesive you guys use most often. I used to use the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, but I found that it was a little bit thick for these fine liner bottles, and my bottles would, if I wasn't really careful and I didn't put the pin back in my fine liner bottle, like immediately after I was done using it, it would get clogged. So I had heard someone else talking about this Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, and so that's what I use now. And speaking of, I broke a needle off in that tip, so that's why I'm not using that one. But these guys I got on Amazon. I think I got like 15 of these bottles for $6. So if anybody is looking for fine liner bottles that are inexpensive, and they seem to work fine, so that's a bonus. I also use tape runners, but I find that to actually permanently glue stuff down, I prefer using liquid glue. I find that I don't find things floating around in my page protectors like I often did when I was relying upon tape runners to hold everything in place. So a little of the And this stuff you can get, these little craft foam sheets you can get at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, or you can order them on Amazon. In fact, the last set that I had was actually really nice because it had adhesive on one side, and so you only had to put your glue on one side rather than both. But you know what? It all works. So who all is yeah, I've heard that people that live in humid areas, that tape runners can be problematic. So when I very first started scrapbooking, they really, maybe they had tape runners, but the store that I bought my first haul of stuff, so to speak, they had the, I think it was a Zig two-way glue, and they had like different size applicators. So that's what I used initially, and then shortly thereafter, I think I started using tape runners of different sorts. It would be nice if they all just had like the same, well, I guess that would defeat the purpose of them having their own stuff, but you know, it's like each one has a different applicator, and if you aren't able to find the same brand refill, then you've got all these random applicators floating around with nothing to put in them. I finally threw a bunch out not too long ago because they were just filling up my drawers, and they were never going to get used. So I promise that doing this is going to be worth the effort, or the end result is going to be worth the effort. Because with craft foam, you can take any basic die cut and make it into a more eye-catching embellishment by simply adding a little craft foam to the back. And that shadow that it gives your page, just that little detail just makes it really pop, and just makes it a little bit more interesting. It's almost like when you've got something that has a lot of texture or different textures, when you have a project that has a lot of different textures, it's nice. It almost makes you just want to reach out and touch them all, right? When I do my December daily album, I rarely put any of my pages in page protectors because I like being able to touch them. I just think that And then it allows you to be able to have like interactive elements on your pages, which is really cool too. Okay, so we've got 3 more to do. Curious as to whether you guys do December daily albums, and if you do, what type of album you use and whether or not you actually use page protectors or not. We actually came out with a die last year that was a little kind of a binder die, and it basically cuts out, I'll have to show you next time, but it cuts out the so like you can have like a 6x8 page, and it cuts out a strip that is got holes on both sides, and it's scored, so you fold it in half and you just basically slip it over your page on the edge of it, and then that way you've got the edge that goes into your binder with the hole punches, that's all reinforced, so it won't tear. And so that's always, that was kind of a fun addition last year. We had a lot of really fun dies for the holidays last year, and some of which we're going to build on this year. So we'll have some fun things coming out for that. And our September kits are going to be revealed right around the 6th of September, I think. So I didn't push that all the way to the edge, but that's fine. Yeah, so we've got, and that's kind of like early fall stuff. I always like the fall, our fall kits. Well, I like all of them, but every time we come, September hits, it's like, oh, here we go. Although for those of you that are down under, you guys are finishing up winter and heading into spring here pretty soon. All right, so these are all done. What do we call this? A labor of love. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, hopefully none of these are stuck down too. So now I just need to separate them so that I know which goes which. And we're going to offset each one of the chevrons. And they're ombre, so it's pretty easy to piece them back together. And this one is going to go over here. I'm going to move this for a minute. And then where's our little trees? Okay. So we just want it to be slightly off center. So I'm going to start with our little the one that goes at the bottom here. And I want to make sure that so this one here is going to hit this corner, and so I want to make sure that this is placed so that it kind of lands in this corner here. So I'm going to put that one on first, I think. and then I can build everything from there. So I don't want to have to rip things up, and I've been known to do that. Actually, I am known to do that. Okay. So here, we're going to make the edge of it here. Okay. So this is going to land here, and I'll trim that off. And it doesn't have to, nothing has to be perfect. And then we'll just kind of add these others inside. I'm not going to put too much glue. I'll add some more. I want to make sure that these are going to be spaced. So you want to make sure that your points, there we go. Okay, so that looks good. We'll add this one, and we'll do the larger one. We'll just trim these down slightly for those that have just a little hanging off the edge. There we go. See how that shadow just looks so nice? And if we had glued it down flat, we wouldn't have that. Okay. And then we'll do this other one. Right. And if you were really talented, you could, and you didn't have this paper, or motivated, I guess is better, you could create your own chevron using patterned paper. I think that that would look super cool. All right, so there we go. These are done. I'm going to let them dry before I try and remove the excess. Now, we'll do this part. Okay. So this one's going to do the same thing. We are going to have the second chevron. We want it to kind of line up with that corner there. So place this so that it's that corner. That's about right. So I'm just going to put that down, and now we'll add these lower ones. I love chevrons. There's so many different ways that you can use them. It's some paper weaving. I think Anka Kramer did a layout with paper weaving, and I think that you could maybe do paper weaving with chevrons. Actually, I'm not quite sure if that would work or not, but in my head, I think it might. Or you could do something similar. Sometimes when I don't have a specific project in mind, I will sit down and kind of goof around with scraps that are lying around, and to try and come up with new techniques. This one I'm not going to have quite as much hanging off the edge, but that's all right. And then this guy. So for those of you that have school-age kids, are your kids back in school? Or is tomorrow going to be the big last night of summer, getting ready for back to school? You just kind of want to make sure that all of your points line up and are somewhat in a vertical line. Okay, so I'm going to quickly take my scissors and I'm going to cut these down. Go back and clean that up just a little bit, but sometimes I find doing this with a larger pair of scissors works better. Ah, hello friend, get out of here. All right. It's always the foundation of pages that take the longest, I feel. Especially if it isn't just, you know, basic layering. But it's fun to try something that... All right, this one. Loose. All right, so there you go. Look how cool that looks. And the nice thing about that is we changed this just a tad, and having these chevrons offset from one another gives a really nice effect, and it makes your page visually interesting. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to have to add foam adhesive behind our photos because this is already raised. Actually, you know what? This, I can use this and it will be faster. So, let go. That. And I'm going to, I'll just, when I get my photo situation fixed, I'll just just add the photos over the top of this cardstock. So it's gonna be all ready for me. And if you guys are in that same boat where you don't have photos ready, you can do the same thing. So we are going to center these. So that's why I put the little line here, so that I knew here's the center of my page and I want this photo centered here. And then what did I do with my little die cuts? I dropped it on the floor. Hey, Bob. Okay. We were making jokes the other day about losing scissors and all the things. And I seem to have lost my die cut. Hey, Bob, can you run down and get me another June kit? Yeah, I lost my die cut. I put it somewhere. Don't know where it went, but Bob is going to our rescue. Okay, get me another one. Okay. So while he's doing that, let's go ahead and grab some of the extra pieces that we need for this page. We've got to fussy cut a few things, so we'll go ahead and do that. Fussy cut this pineapple. I love the citrus in this kit. I think it's so fun. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna fussy cut this guy. And thank you. Appreciate it. Let's cut this guy. The lime. And let's see. The lime, we've got some leaves. Some more leaves down here. I'm going to be so sad when summer's over and all of the summer fruit is going to be gone. It's going to be a sad day. It's funny, I was reading through a bunch of the comments in our Craft and Connect community, and there were quite a few people that were talking about how now if I was paying more attention to this, there's probably a more paper saving way to go about what I'm doing, but because I'm being me today, this is how we're gonna do it. Okay, so we need that. lime, I have a lemon. And then, okay. So let's quickly cut these. And this is what I mean about having a nice, sharp pair of scissors. It really does make a big difference, because as you close, if your blade is sharp, as you close your scissors, it will move smoothly. And I don't move my scissors when I fussy cut, I move my paper. And I don't know if that might just be something that I do, but I find that that's a lot easier and I get smoother cuts that way. I do maybe move my scissors slightly, but most of the movement comes from the paper, and then that allows me to control the speed in which I'm kind of opening and closing the scissors. So it allows me to kind of get smoother cuts that way. Okay, so this one I don't need, I already have that. Let's do these little leaves. And for these, I'm going to keep a little white border on the edge because they're so dainty where the two leaves connect. There's one. This is probably as fun as watching water boil. Is that the phrase? I can't remember. I promise the next time I will have all this stuff done ahead of time. Had we not have had our sale this weekend, I would have had more time. I'm curious as to what you guys all bought, what you had your eye on and what you picked up. I love the colors of this kit too. Just wait till you see the, so next, I'm gonna try to do this next week. I'll try to do our July kits this next week, and that will get us caught up. But they are so much fun. I have so many ideas and just no time to create with them, or create as much as I would like to with them. So here's our big grapefruit. And if you had like circle dies or circle punches handy that are the same size as some of these, you could use those to cut out some of these circles. Alright, so that one's done. It really does not take that long. Or maybe I'm feeling that it doesn't take that long. Maybe you guys are feeling differently. Sometimes I'll leave like a little white border on the edge, especially things that are finicky, you know, that have like a lot of details. Sometimes it's easier to do that. I remember many, many years ago, this is kind of how I got started fussy cutting, but for a long period of time, there were a lot of like alphabet stencils that came out, and so in different fonts, and so I had like a binder of them, and so depending on what my title was, I would would trace the alphas and fussy cut my titles. And I have books, and I have albums and albums and albums full of pages with these fussy cut alphas. And most of some of them were smaller, but a lot of the alphas were really big. So I think my titles took up a large part of most of my pages. Okay, so I think we've got all of those done. So I'm going to set that aside. And toss those scraps. I'm trying to be neater than I typically am when I am working. I usually am a hot mess. Okay, now I have to find the die cut that I lost, that I'm sure I'm going to find later on. But sometimes you have to cheat. Where did I? There it is. Okay, so we've got these. Then the other few things that we need to grab, there are a few other die cuts. So we need this butterfly, and let's see, we need few papayas in here, I think that's what they are. Sunshine. You know what? It would be helpful if we actually looked at the reverse. Ah. This is Melvin, and this is the one that bites us. Okay, let's see. I'll make sure. Okay, these must be here. This is why I encourage people to sort through their stuff ahead of time. But if you didn't, I didn't either. And this is my gift to you. Right. Looking for papayas. I know that they're in here. There should be of them. We need that, and finding everything but, right? If I don't find it, I'm going to use something else, just for the sake of expediting things. This is napping because maybe I was meant to cut it out. Good grief. Okay. Well, imagine where those were. Were they on that paper? Oh, you know what? Duh. They're right here, friends. They're right here. So I need that one, and I need this one. And I need one of those leaves too. So I think the way that this paper has ended up, kind of butchered, it's going to be your perfect paper for making cards or turning these things into embellishments. So all right, so here's one. Quickly go about cutting him out. You see how I turn my paper and not my scissors? Actually, go ahead and cut this whole thing out. This one's going to look a little choppy, I think. Okay. And I'll just cut that in half, put the other one over there, and we'll save it. Fussy cutting. I know that there's a lot of you that hate this, and for those of you that do, I apologize. Honestly, I think our May kits, I purposely, when I designed all those pages, there were a lot of pieces that needed to be cut, but they were all done with trimmers. So I think that that made life a little bit easier for everybody. Okay, so we've got that, and then I just need to find the Hello Summer die cut. So there's that. And then there's a few puffy stickers that I'm gonna grab also. Let's see, we need an orange. Orange butterfly. Let's see. All right, friends. We've got just a couple of others that I think we've got to fussy cut as well. So we need a, let's see here. We need the orange. There's some little orange butterflies on this. There are. And then, okay, I'm going to try not to destroy too much. So I want this guy. And we need, let's see, I'm gonna do one more of these flowers here. I don't want to destroy any butterflies or dragonflies, that's for sure. And then I need this pink. Flower. Alright, so that, and then is there a little yellow flower on here that I need to find that I don't see? If there is, I'll use something else. Okay, let's quickly do these. And these I won't go in and do like all of the tiny little leaves. I just kind of bubble cut it because everything is so, all of these leaves are so dainty that I think it would destroy the die cut or destroy the flower. Everything would fall apart, and I don't want that to happen. A lot of our papers have a lot of options in terms of the, being able to take bits and pieces from them and kind of either turn them into embellishments, or you can use bits and pieces of things, and rather than using the pattern itself, you can take bits and pieces of it and use it to kind of add a pop of color to your page or your project. So we shared a layout by Gloria Parra in our community, and she used the hexagon paper that I'll show that to you in a little bit, but she did a fabulous job with it, where I can only imagine that a lot of people that saw that paper were like, no, and probably put it in a stack of, I don't know what to do with that, and I don't think that I'll use it or whatever. And she did such an amazing job with that paper, and she used like bits and pieces of it, and the result was stunning, and it is the perfect example that just because you see something a certain way, or at first glance that you see a paper or a product and you're like, no, that's not really my style, I don't think that's, I'm gonna probably put that in a no-go stack or whatever. But I think that if you really look at it and try to see it either as adding something that would add color to your page, or maybe you like the pattern but it's just too much, and so cutting it into strips, and using like little bite-size bits of it makes it really usable. So I think that really kind of taking a good look at your supplies before you judge them. Okay, so there we go. We've got those, and then I'll use a puffy sticker as. Okay, let's put this baby together. And I don't need these now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we'll take our photo, and I want these to be straight. So I'm going to use my T-square ruler and want this to kind of be centered here. All right. Okay, so we've got that. And then this guy peels up a little bit because he is going to overlap part of this hexagon, and so we don't need the dimensional adhesive on the bottom of this photo. So we'll put him here-ish, and then we'll take the other guy. We're going to kind of do that same thing up at the top here because he's going to overlap that upper part. So removed some of that from there as well. So we're just going to make sure that, and I'm not aiming for perfection in terms of having everything straight. I just didn't want it to kind of go uphill. All right, so now this guy is going to need some little bits of, let's see, this part will not, but this guy is going to need it here. So I think I need this one and this one, and then the rest of these will be fine here. All right, so I'm going to remove the backs here, and we're going to add this little border, and this is going to kind of anchor our photos. So it's going to give them, our photos, something to rest on. Okay. So here, and I'm going to slip it underneath so it's, the photos are kind of layered on top just a bit. You know what? This is why I like craft foam. Because that doesn't work quite right. And I need to be able to slide this around a little bit. Okay. So I like having it resting on top just a little bit, and I want it to kind of overlap just a little bit there, or stick out beyond the photos slightly. So now I am going to take some little bits of craft foam and add them to the back here. And this way, these don't have adhesive on the back, so they can move around. And I don't care that that one's sticking out a little bit, because that's going to tuck underneath the photo there, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. And then these guys get a little adhesive here, and then we can place this where we want it. Actually, I do want to trim that down, because it's going to actually stick out between the photo there. See? You know how when you see beautiful pages shared, and you're like, oh, that's so pretty. And you just imagine that they just magically come together with no bloopers or blunders. Usually not the case. At least I can tell you from my experience. Perhaps I should have put this down before I put the photos down, and that would have made it a little bit easier, but didn't do that. All right, here we go. So now I think we're good. And hopefully just add a little bit of adhesive here. Melvin, you're in the way. I don't know why this is being so difficult. Tell you what. Glue the parts without all right, out of here. Okay, so these I'm just gonna try and make this stick where I want it, and then we'll worry about adding. I just need it to stick somewhere. Every time I move it, then it makes a mess. Okay, so now we've done all of our larger pieces, right? We've done our paper. Make me go insane here. I need this to stick here so that when I start adding things over the top of it, it stays in place. Okay, so now we've done the base of our page. So now it's just all the pretty stuff, right? And let's add some of our larger embellishments. I wanted to, this guy's gonna go over here. We'll add our little pineapple over here. And we need to add our little sunshine over here. And then we'll put our hello summer right about here. And then we want to use our grapefruit. I'm actually gonna cut a piece off of him. We might be able to use that somewhere else. I always hang on to things, even if I'm like not gonna use this immediately. Sometimes just having something with a round edge to break up all those straight edges, it's nice to have those pieces lying around so you can grab them when you need to. Okay, so quickly, I am going to add some foam adhesive to this. And I'm going to add a little foam adhesive to this guy. And I'm just going to lay him flat. Yeah. So, and then I need these little leaves, and I'm going to add some foam to those as well. So let's just cut a couple of little pieces. Here. And here. So those will go over here. And then put foam behind our pineapple. This is why I hate this stuff, because it sticks to everything. And you can stick just a little bit. I want him to sit right about there. And then this guy. Him. I'm going to cut a little bit of him off too. I'm going to save that little piece, and then we'll do the little leaves here. You know, I used to have a pair of Teflon scissors, and that kept this from happening. So we'll put this guy and See, it sticks so badly to my scissors, and then, okay. And then these guys are going to, just gonna pop them behind. And then this guy, will have him sit here. I'm going to drop it down just. I need to put our little line behind him. See? It's a hot mess around here. Put him right here. And this is we'll go here. And we need to put our little grapefruit behind the photo. So, actually, I'm going to cut him down a little bit here as well. Not that much of him showing. And then we've got our little lemon that will slip right here. And then we've got our little leaves as well. I'm actually going to, this is actually easier. I add a little piece of foam adhesive under here so that this actually, it's kind of dropping there. One more little piece. All right. I love the way that this is turning out. Okay. All right, so now we've got all the big pieces done. So now we need to add, Melvin, say hello to the people, Melvin. Say hello. Say hello. Show them how cute you are. Say, I'm into everything. I'm into everything. Okay. All right, so now let's add some of the smaller bits. We need to add our butterfly, and I always do my butterflies like this. I always kind of bend them in the center, and I only put adhesive along that center. So he's going to here, and then that way his wings aren't glued down all the way. So kind of down. Okay, and then I need a little, it showed a little yellow flower, which don't think I know where. Here we go. This will work. And we need a little foam adhesive on him. Friends. And right here. And then we've got some more little leaves. It's all the little tiny things that make your page. So like, I guess there's a fine balance between adding too little and too much. It's that sweet spot right in the middle there. Him right there. Just want those little leaves right there. And then we've got this guy. And we can add, I'm big on foam adhesive. I put it behind everything. But you don't have to do that. It's entirely up to you. It's just, I like all the shadows that it adds to your pages. So him right here. Can be a little finicky at times. So there's that. And now I want to add this little pink flower. Take a little bit of this and I'm just going to pop it right in the center here. Glue, and then I'm going to put this adhesive or this foam along the center, and I'll add some glue behind that, and then I'm just going to pop this right behind my photo here. I kind of want it to pop on top of the this guy. I think he needs just one extra little layer. So I'm going to move him just slightly. Ah, for heaven's sake. Just all right, there we go. And then just a few things on this other side that we need to do. We've got our little strawberry, a little one here, and we have another little white flower. Good, I didn't lose it. This guy goes here. And this one goes here. So I want this little strawberry to kind of nest right here. Now I think there's a smaller one. Where did he go? I was gonna put him, I don't want him to cover up too much of my lemon, so I'm gonna kind of set him right over here. And then we'll take the other half. This is why I'm going to add this little guy here. Behind him, and I want him to rest right underneath here. To put a piece on him, I guess. It's going to kind of rest right under here. And then I've got, where did my little flower go? Oh, here he is. Got another little flower that's going to sit right here. And here's my little strawberry, and he's gonna sit right here. This guy is not liking where he's living. So here, and then should have some little leaves that I have managed to misplace. having these little pops of green really just kind of makes everything, all the other, it kind of breaks up all the pinks and the yellows. And so adding this green just really kind of makes everything else seem so much more visible. Okay. And then just gonna add a little bit of foam behind both of these leaves, and they are going to go behind that little white flower. Here, and then can go over here. So see how nice that looks? And then the last thing that we have to do is add this last little butterfly. And he is going to sit right in here. And I bent, kind of folded him just slightly so that the leaves don't all get glued down. Oh, and I forgot to glue our little sunshine. And I'm going to glue him directly down flat to my page. All right, so there we go. We are done with layout number 1. Now, it is 6:10, and I think that you guys are not going to want to continue on for another 2 hours to finish these. So what if we put a pin in this and we come back later on this week and we finish this up? I'm thinking maybe maybe we could try like Thursday. We could do a Thursday morning or Thursday evening. Or we could do it again on either Saturday or Sunday. That would work too. But I just don't want to make you guys sit through another several hours of, I mean, obviously I'm fine to continue on. How do you guys feel about it? We can continue. I'm good to do that. I just want to make sure that I'm not like ruining your evening. So obviously it's taking a little longer. Well, would you guys like to continue on? Because we can totally do that. I'm good either way. Oh, I'm glad you like it. I think it turned out really cute. And I think I can lift it up and you can see it a little closer. Although I think the zoom is pretty good on it. Honestly, I think it looks better on the table because then you can see the details. There we go. So what do you think? Should we do another one? You want to go for another hour? Okay. Let's keep going then. We're all good. All right. Yay. That makes me happy. Okay, so layout number 1, done. I think it turned out really cute. It's so much cuter than it looks in the on the project sheet. Of course, mine has cat hair in it now, but everything has cat hair in it around here. Okay, so let's move on to layout number 2. And what we need is, let's see, I'm gonna put this back here. And then we need white cardstock. Oh boy, you guys, if you could see, if you could only see. And then I have all of this organized, believe it or not. Strips, paper, there should be one more. Let's see. Okay. All right, so we need for this page a 3x3 photo and two 2x2 photos. And one of the things that I like about 2x2 photos is that you can take a like a photo collage, and you can crop in really close to your subject. And I oftentimes, when I use like a smaller photo like this, I oftentimes will use black and white, but it really doesn't matter. Okay. And if you didn't want to use a 2x2 photo, you could use a piece of pattern paper or an embellishment in place of these smaller photos that I've got set up. So what we need to do is we need to fussy cut these little scallops. And this came on a sheet of that had both green and blue scallops. And this is one of those papers where I'm like, okay, maybe somebody would use this as a background, maybe somebody might think it's too busy. But by taking like a bite-sized piece out of it, so like for instance, I'm just using the blue part, and then I can save the green for something else. And the same thing with the chevron. I just used the part of the chevron that I wanted, and I'm leaving this for something else. So you don't always have to use the paper the way that it comes. You can always kind of cut bits and pieces of it out and use the parts that you like, and either save the others or toss them if you really don't think that it's something that you're gonna use. But chances are, even things that you think that aren't your maybe your style, you might actually surprise yourself. You could use this as a strip if you want. If you didn't want to do this this fussy cutting part, you could use this as a strip. But I'm fussy cutting it because I like the detail of the scalloped edge. And of course, I'm gonna put foam adhesive behind it, so it's gonna give a nice little shadow. All right. The other thing with fussy cutting that makes it a lot easier is if you trim quite a bit of the excess off, it makes it a lot easier for you to be able to move your hand and your scissors around the images that you're trying to cut out. If you have too much paper, your hand's going to kind of get stuck and you're not going to be able to move your scissors in a way where you'll get a nice cut. So it's another little tip that helps me a lot. All right, so there's that one, and then we've got one more. Now this page is going to be fun because I am going to show you how those resist chipboard die cuts work. We'll add them. It doesn't, the project sheet doesn't show them colored, but I'm going to color mine. And I'm going to show you how I do it. And you can do it if you've got like ink, if you've got mists, if you have watercolors, paint. It'll work with all those kinds of things. And in fact, I think it might even work with, like if you had like Nouveau mist or Nouveau embellishment mousse, if you just took like a little cloth and rubbed it over the top of it, and then took a clean cloth with a little bit of, spritzed with water and kind of wiped the excess away, I think you might actually get that same resist effect. But you might want to test it on a piece that you wouldn't use, like one of the dots or something like that, to see if it works. But I'm thinking that it, I'm kind of thinking that it would, because I've turned, added a bunch of water to that before, and kind of mixed it up and turned it into like a paint and used it that way. So I'm assuming that, because it is water soluble, I think. It is a little bit waxy, but it's supposedly water soluble. I also have a bunch of, gosh, what is it called? Cosmos Shimmer embellishment paste, or like texture pastes, or I don't even know what it is. It's kind of like a texture paste. It's a little bit softer, and it comes with like an applicator, with like a foam applicator. And I've got it sitting here in my stash. The problem is that we can't get it for our color kits because it's a product that comes from the UK, and it's very difficult or expensive to have things brought in from other countries, or like to buy and then ship things wholesale from other countries. So all right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do these in, I am not trying that tape stuff, I'll tell you. The bane of my existence. We'll just use some ugly little foam, craft foam, but it's going to work perfectly. Okay, so now we need to add some foam behind these pieces, and must have used a lot of glue because I'm kind of feeling like this guy's going to need a refill. Not today, but very soon. to be trimmed because he's gotten a little wide. So I'm reading a new book. It's called Correspondence. Well, I'm not actually reading it. I'm listening to the audiobook, but I'll have to look. I can't remember who the author is, but it's actually a very clever book. It's the book is made up of, I believe that it's fiction, but it's made up of a variety of letters that that's how she primarily communicates with people, which kind of makes me laugh because that's a forgotten art in a lot of ways these days. But anyway, so it basically is the story of her life and her interactions with her family and other people, friends, and other people that she communicates with. And they're all like either letters or emails, but it's like the back and forth thing. And it's actually really kind of unique and entertaining. I'm really enjoying it. And if you are looking for something new to read, that one might be something to give a try. It was highly rated on Goodreads, and so that's one of the reasons that I decided to try it. And another author that I like a lot, Anne, is it Anne? What's her name? Anne? Is it Patchett or can't remember exactly off the top of my head how to pronounce her last name, but she I've read several of her books, and she reviewed this one and had really good things to say about it. So that's one of the reasons why I gave it a try, and I'm glad that I did. Not necessarily a genre, because I'm usually like true crime or mystery, psychological thriller, that kind of thing is usually what or historical fiction. I like that a lot. But I decided to give this a try, and it's actually been really quite fun. Oh, you read it too, Catherine. Oh, yay. It was super cool, right? Yeah, it's a very cleverly written book. I don't think that I've ever read anything that's quite like that. And the cool thing about the audiobook is that the narrators do such an amazing job. And I listen to audiobooks practically, I go through them really, really quickly. I listen to them practically every day, unless I'm like doing things where I have to write. Obviously I can't. I'm talented, people, but not quite that talented. But anyway, while I'm working and doing like design work and stuff like that, I often listen to audiobooks. I feel like it allows my brain to focus a little bit better. Maybe it's because it occupies the competing parts. Okay. See how nice that looks? And by cutting the scallop and adding the foam adhesive behind, it creates this nice little shadow. And I love how that looks. Okay, so now we are going to, we've got paper strips, and we had 3 paper strips that we cut, and I did cut these ahead of time. So One of them is, they're all 10.5 inches long. One of them is 1 inch, and then the other two are 1.25 inches. And so the other things that we need to gather are, I mean, I don't think that there's a lot of fussy cutting on this one, to be honest. Nope, mostly die cuts. Hip, hip, hooray. Okay, so now we need to grab our die cuts that we need. So we need this little frame here. And you know what? I'm gonna save this because I think I could use it to create another frame with a different shape. Okay, so we're gonna use, we need that. We need with the hearts. We need this label and this guy. Actually, I should probably just make a pile of the things that I don't need. Nope. 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 Yes. No. All right. Let's see. Can I make that up for this one? No. Let's see. There's that left over. Actually, yeah, leftover one. I need this. I need the grapes. I need the cherries. And let's see. Need this guy. Need this guy. It's the cutest thing. Isn't he cute? Well, the lighting isn't good when I lift him so much, but he's very cute. Okay, so I need not this, this. Not this. This. Him. There should be an orange one in here too, I think. Don't need that one. Don't need this one. Don't need that. I do need these little clouds though. I need the sunglasses. And there should be a purple. You know what? think, figure that out. I think these others. That's not what I wanted. Okay. I think I have all the things, with the exception of the clouds, I think. There are some clouds in here. We're good there. Okay. Now I need a couple of flowers from in here. So we need this guy, and there's an orange one that I want. Maybe this one. And then I think the other things are, actually I don't want those, I think the other ones are the puffy stickers. Okay, so let's set this other stuff aside, and then there's also I think I missed a couple of things on that other page, but we'll add those later. Let's see. There's one in here that I want. I want the sunshine. So to avoid having this stick to something that I don't want it to stick to, I'll just cut it out with the acetate backing. And if you ever are like trying to prepare for a class like this ahead of time, and you're trying to pull the stuff out, and you want to like actually pull your puffy stickers or whatever aside, you can use a powder tool. So like for instance, here's a puffy sticker, and I've got a powder tool, and these are like the anti-static tools that you use for stamping and embossing, but it also helps remove adhesive from the back of your stickers. So you can pull these aside, you can use your anti-static tool to remove the adhesive, and then when you want to glue it down, then you just simply put liquid glue behind it and you're all set. Okay, so I think I have all the things. So let's start first. So we've got our little borders. Put this aside in a little pile and hope that I don't lose anything like I've been doing in the past. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to what I want to do is I want to take my ruler. I can figure out what I did with it. It's around here somewhere. It's got to be around here somewhere. See my X-Acto knife. Where did my ruler? Right, or maybe I'm not going to use my ruler. Oh, there it is. It's on the floor. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to and put a mark in the center of my page. And the reason that I'm doing that is I want one of the paper strips, I'm going to have run the center of my page. Or I'm going to have these kind of be close to that anyway. Okay, so the first one, I think, how do I want to do this? I think I'm going to put these first two strips, I'm going to glue them down without any foam. So, don't freak out. Yep, it's going to be flat. This part is anyway. Okay, so the first one, I am going to sit. The reason I put that that line there is it just kind of is going to give me a visual of where the center of my page is, so that I can kind of can figure out where I'm placing things, so that I don't have things up too far or down, up too high or down too low. So I know that this part, the first piece is always the hardest part for me to put down. And honestly, maybe using a tape runner for this part might not be a bad idea if you haven't already used your liquid glue, which mine may have already dried, so it might not even. I'm just going to add a little more here and a little here, and then that way if I need to move anything I can, because the didn't stick it down fast enough. And here, I'll just do the same with this one. So this one I'm going to layer together, and I want, let's see, I'll have this down on, I don't want it to go all the way to the end, so this one I'm going to have go this way. Now, one of the things that I did with this is I cut them out at, so they're both 1.25 inches wide, and so I cut them the whole 12 inches or the whole strip 12 inches long. But when I trimmed them down, I trimmed one end, or I trimmed the extra 1.5 inches off of the left side of one strip and off of the right side of the other strip. So this way, when you put them together, the strips are different. Does that make sense? So that way they won't line up and look like they're the same. So the colors don't align perfectly. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I think, yeah, so I'm gonna do this. I'll add a little bit of tape runner here, and this I'm going to line up so that the stripes are lined up, but they're not the same. So if you look, we've got two different, nothing kind of matches up perfectly. And then what we'll do, this piece, I'm going to add foam adhesive to this one. So we are going to cut this. And so my husband and I just finished watching it's a football documentary on Netflix, and it's about the history of the Dallas Cowboys from the time when Jerry Jones bought it. And it was actually really, really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I have watched many of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader seasons as well. But getting Bob to try that simply wasn't going to happen. All right, so this one, what we're going to do is we want this to line up with the left edge of our paper, and it's going to be centered between or not exactly centered, but somewhat centered between the two other strips that we've already put down. You're going to Iceland. My daughter, Mackenzie, went to Iceland. Oh gosh, it's been several years. She did it during spring break while she was in college. And the funny thing about that girl is that she decides to do something and she just does it. So when she was deciding to go to Iceland, I was like, you can't, this is like, for those that don't have adult kids, it's hard to be a parent of an adult child or an adult that is your son or daughter, because I immediately think of, oh, well, you can't go by yourself, it's not safe, so that's kind of my middle daughter likes to go mountain biking, and I'm like, please, I'll see like crazy mountain biking crashes on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and I'm like, please tell me you don't do those things. And she's like, Mom, I'm like, I really wish you wouldn't do that. It's dangerous. Okay, so then we're going to take our 3x3 photo, and we are going to adhere it to the back of our frame. And I'm going back and forth between whether I want to add foam behind this or not. And I'm thinking not, because that is a very, very narrow border around this frame. So I think putting it flat is going to be the best bet. Okay, a little bit on the top here. The trick with liquid glue, you want enough, but not too much. Okay. So lay this over the top. And there might not have cut this entirely straight, so I might need to do a little edge surgery here. so there's that. And this, we're gonna put some foam underneath our photo, but not. This is gonna bug me. This little piece that's hanging out there. And I probably just made this worse than better. Yep. That's good enough. All right. So now I'm going to put some craft foam behind my photo. Just going to put it in the center, and if I need to add more later, I will. But I don't know what I'm going to be tucking underneath it, so I'll make sure that there we go. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so he's gonna sit about right here. So I'm gonna I'm going to let this sit flat on top of the on top of this stripe here, but it needed to have some foam underneath it because this is lifted here, so in order for it to sit straight. Okay, and then we are going to take our tag here, and I think I'm gonna cut the top of it off because I just want the bottom, and then that way I can use this somewhere else and get the top of the tag. And I also want to trim this because I can use the other part as well elsewhere. I'm cutting it a little off center, so it's not totally in half because I need enough of it to be able to stick out here. But it's basically, that's what it will do, and so we'll save these two pieces for something else. And usually when I do this, I just pop them in with my other die cuts. And then Melvin, then we need to put our other two photos here also. And I'm going to put foam behind both of those photos, and also behind this tag. So this is my cat, friends. You know. Your daughter hiked Sedona? Oh, by herself. Yeah. We raise these adventurous kids. They're shaking in our boots when they go off to live their lives. Thursday, why don't we try a morning one, and then that way yeah, we'll keep going. We're gonna finish this page, and then maybe the third one we'll do on Thursday. We could do Thursday morning, and then that way maybe some of the our peeps that live in Europe might be able to join us, because it would be late afternoon there if we did like around 11 or noonish. I know it's not great for people that live in the US, so it's hard to find a time that works for everybody. But the good news is if we do it and for some reason you're not able to catch the live stream, you can always watch the replay. So, okay, so we've got these and this. So what we need to do is we need to figure out where I'm going to set my photo. So I think this photo is going to sit right about here. I don't want it too far. I don't want to cover up this stripe too much, so thinking he's going to go right about there. And then my tag, so I think he needs to be glued down first, because my tag is going to get kind of tucked behind him. So put him about right here. And I'm just barely going to overlap that lower edge. The thing with liquid glue, the good thing with liquid glue is that you can kind of maneuver things a little bit. The bad thing about liquid glue is because things maneuver themselves a little bit when you stick them down, so it's kind of annoying. And this little guy is popping up here, and I don't like that. So let's see if I can get him to stick down. All right, I think we're good there. Now we need to add this guy, and he is going to tuck in just barely behind this paper strip, and we want him to sit there like that. So he's just a little taller than that. It's just a little taller than that upper strip, and he is tucked behind this lower strip slightly. And then I have the pink border, I have it just lined up so that the edge of my frame is lined up with this edge of the pink border on that tag. So I'm trying to get as much of the white space as I can without having the pink show there. And hopefully that makes sense. And then our next, we'll put one of our photos down. And this is going to go above. I'm going to kind of tuck it slightly behind that tag, just a little bit. And I'm going to give it just a tiny bit of space between the edge of the photo and the edge of my frame here. Actually, no, I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to I'm gonna kind of just let it line up just right. Okay, so there's that. So there we go with that. And then the next one we need to put down, and he is going to line up what? I need to get rid of a little bit of this because there's already down there. So I want my two photos here to overlap just slightly. Okay. For some reason, this is not, you know what I did? Okay, I made a mistake here, and I'll explain to you what I did. If you've already cut your tag, we might need to do something a little bit different, but it's not going to be a big deal because we're going to fix this. So what happened was, when I originally did this, if you haven't cut your tag yet, you're going to want to, let me grab another one so that I can show you the right way to do it, and then I'll show you, if you've already cut your tag, I'll show you the way to fix it. Let's see. Yeah, because I was like, that just does not seem long enough. So I have to remember what I do sometimes. Trimmer. Okay. So I cut this off, right? And then I cut this. Let's see, how wide is this? This is 2 1/4. So it's a little, it's 1 1/4. And I trimmed that together. Now what I did, I've got these two pieces, and I took a piece, you could take a piece of washi tape to do this, but I just took, I'm just gonna take a piece of this. This is 3M, like Post-it tape. It works perfectly for this kind of stuff. But what you do is you line this up. So you've, in essence, you're gonna wanna make sure that you line it up so that your tag, the edge of your tag. So now it looks like it's one piece. So that when you actually put this, then you'll figure out how much of it you're gonna cut off. So we want this basically to extend almost to the edge of the photo. So I'm gonna cut off maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe. And then you'll add your foam adhesive, and then this will tuck underneath your photo and go the entire, and then it will fit. So the way that I meant it to fit. So does that make sense? So for those of us that have already done that or cut our tag apart, let's take a scrap of white cardstock. What did you do? Trimmer. Okay, so let's take a strip of white cardstock and we're gonna measure it out to be about an inch. So cut an inch of white cardstock here. Make sure that this is straight. I don't know if I cut this around or not, so I want to make sure that I've got it straight. So an inch of white cardstock, a strip that's an inch wide. And then we're gonna take a scrap of this pink cardstock. And let's see, I'm probably gonna just, let's see how I'm gonna do it. I'm probably gonna just have it be like an inch and 3/4 wide. So we're kind of just making our own little tag thing here. We're going to obviously trim this down a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, it's going to work for us. So put some adhesive behind your white cardstock and then just line it up here. So we've got that pink edge, and then I think I'm going to trim this down just slightly because it's going to need to tuck in under that strip here. So I need to figure out how long I want this to be. So this is about 4 3/4. I don't think that's, yeah, if you do it 4 3/4 and then you just tuck it behind the larger photo, I think you'll be fine. And I'm going to actually trim this down because my foam adhesive that's behind that stripe. It's not letting me tuck this in the way that I want to. So there, that's better. I need to cut just a little bit more off on this. Okay, so now I'm going to put some foam adhesive behind my tag here, but I'm only putting it on the end on this on the right side, because I've got enough to kind of support the other edge. Oh, actually, that's not true. Put a little bit more, because I don't want this to dip down. That's my, okay. So for those of us that messed up our tag, now the color's a little different, but I think it works fine. Okay, so now we'll add some adhesive behind here, and this makes a lot more sense. And if I'd slowed down, I probably would have remembered that that's what I did. But, you know, sometimes you live and you learn. So I want this to tuck down here. I want it to be somewhat straight also, so I think we're good. Hey Bob, can you get my laptop charger when you hear this? Okay, so we've got that. And then we also want to tuck this little orange tag. So we see how everything is really heavy at the top. We're going to use this orange tag here to kind of draw your eye down to the lower part of your page. I'm going to trim a little bit of this off. So I want this to be around here, I think. And I'm not going to put the adhesive on it yet. Okay, so that's going to sit about right there. And then I am going to clean up a little of this mess so that I can actually see what is I need and what is garbage. I have a lot of garbage. Okay. Oh, if you could see my floor. All right. So he's going to sit there. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to want to take our pink tag, this guy, and we're going to cut him in half because we don't need the whole thing. We just want him to kind of peek out here. So I'm just kind of placing things. I'm not going to glue anything down quite yet. And then I've got this little orangey flower that will sit up here as well. And he's going to kind of just peek underneath there. And then this guy is going to go here-ish. And then we have our title. It's going to sit about here. Probably should have lifted this just a little. So this guy, he's gonna sit here, and then we've got our larger floral. Good grief, can I just, and he is going to sit right under just barely tucked behind the title itself. And then I have a little half circle that I'm going to put here as well. Okay, so what we need to do is trying to decide if I want to have the title be the last thing I put on. Actually, let's just set this stuff aside. I'm going to show you how we're going to color these here, how we're going to color our title. So I'm going to set my page aside, and I've got this piece and this piece, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to set this on here. Just I'm going to use our June color kit for this. And this includes 3 different colors of Lindy's Magical Powder. And if you aren't familiar with these, they're super cool. They are, well, let's see, these are shimmery ones. These are magicals, yes. So these are all shimmery, and paintbrush, and then I need a little scooper. That's what I need. So they come, they're powders, and they're super super concentrated, so you don't need a whole lot. I'm going to put these aside. Put this aside. And I'll show you, I'll use this white cardstock, and I'll show you what they look like when you mix them up. But when they dry, they're going to have some shimmer to them. So we'll show you all 3 colors. I think I'm going to use the pink and the orange for this one, and I'm going to do like a bit of an ombre. Of course. Hey Bob, I think he needs to be fed. Okay, so let's take a little, like I said, you don't need a whole lot, and I don't want a ton of color. I just want this to be a little bit of a wash, and you can always add more. You can't take it away. So set these aside, and I'm going to take my paintbrush, which obviously has green paint in it for some reason, which is not what I want. Make sure I get all that green paint out of there, because I don't want it to be muddy. You know what? This one also got paint in it. That one has yellow in it. Okay, somebody didn't wash brushes. Maybe it was me. I'm going to decide to say that it wasn't. But that's okay. We'll just get a different brush. Okay, so here we go. But I don't know if the camera picks this up, but it is really pretty and really shimmery. And when it dries, you'll be able to see that. But here's the color. And depending on how much water you add to it, you know, you can get a lighter shade or a more saturated shade. And the other one is pink. You are not welcome here, sir. Out of here. Okay, so there's, and this one also is very shimmery as well. A little bit of water, and then has this pretty raspberry kind of a color. And then when you mix them, smell something bad is going to happen over here. When you mix them together, you get this beautiful orange color. And that is kind of what I want for my title here. Is somewhere between pink and the orange. So I'm going to kind of do an ombre. Okay. So now take this out and start adding some color to it. So he's playing with the strings of my shorts. If I start screaming, it means that he's climbing my legs. Okay, so we'll start with the lighter color on the top. You can see how this is, you can see the stripes, right? You can see the cat hair. It's on my brush. So start with this yellow. I'm going to add a little bit, I want this yellow to be maybe just slightly more saturated. So you can use them white the way that you can use them white the way that they come. He's gonna knock the lights off my desk. I just know it. Now towards the bottom, we'll add this bolder pink. Orangey. Just a little bit more powder there. So you could do it just one solid color, but I thought it would be kind of cool to have the mix of the two. So while they're still wet, when I go back in, I don't want to have like a really noticeable line there. I'm gonna add just a little bit more yellow in the center so that it'll bleed kind of towards the top end. And then I think that this other one, I'm gonna just keep this one more on the yellow side. Okay. Now when I'll let that sit there for a second. And then this one, when I go over the top of it, I'll remove the excess. So the paint sticks where the bare cards or bare chipboard is. It doesn't. Just a little bit more at the top. And I'm just going to let this dry. That's all right. Okay. So I'm just going to let this dry, and then we'll add the title after it dries. It won't take long at all because this is just watercolor. And want this to be brighter. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to let that one dry as well. Set it aside. And this is super easy to clean up because it's all just watercolor. And you have a glass mat like this, it makes it really easy. But you can also use like a silicone mat, or if you've got a Teflon mat, that works too. All kinds of stuff on my floor, so it's a bit of a mess. Okay. The lids on these. So a little bit goes a very long way. So these last you a good long time. And you can even add a little bit of powder into like a little mister, and you can turn it into a mist as well. So I think so that's going to be super cool. So I'll use that. Now let's get back to our page. We can start continuing to build that. Right. I do want this is just a damp paper towel and just removing the excess. All right. So now it'll dry really fast. Okay, so let's continue to finish up this page. So we've got our photo. I'm just going to see if I can get, there's a little bit of a piece of it. I'll go there, and then that way I can move this if I need to. I want this to be right about here. It should be just about right. And then that's good. And then we'll add some adhesive here. And then we'll figure out what we want to put foam underneath. This be about right here, and then push this way. So that I think is about there. This I am going to put foam behind this flower for sure. So we'll do that. Get this to work. It does work, kind of. So I'm going to put him right about here. And then we've got a little flower, or orange flower, that'll sit right about here. We've got not sure. So we've got this guy, and because this is flat, I don't think I'm going to keep these two flat. I want, okay, so that and that. Oh, the other thing that that we recently watched was Mad Men. Has anybody watched that? It was really, really good. So now we're looking for something else aside from the football documentaries that we've recently seen. Okay, so I am going to go ahead. I might put some string through this, so I'm taking that little hole out. And I want to make sure so much. If I'm putting anything that's like vertical here, I just want to make sure I get it mostly straight. So I'm going to set in here. There we go. And then I know that he's going to stay there, so I'm going to put my liquid adhesive behind there. I think he's going to stay there. So I'm going to adhesive. Sides of him. So it needs to be about right here. And then here comes the little orange flower. Put in there. I think to give a little bit of texture, I'm just going to kind of fold up some of these little petals, and you can sit right here. And then this guy. Here. So these little flowers, although we don't have foam or dimension behind him, at least when we lift these little petals up, you get a little bit of a shadow there. Okay, so there's that. And then we need to put him down, right? All right. So now I need a strip of foam adhesive behind this guy. The other thing you want to make sure after you use the Lindy stuff before you start touching a bunch of other stuff is you want to make sure that you don't have it on your hands, because it will leave marks and be difficult or impossible to remove. So don't want to do that. So I'm going to put some adhesive here and sit him right next to the photo here. Okay, so he's going to sit there, and then we're going to take this guy that we colored. He's pretty much dry, so I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive behind him, and I'm going to tuck him right under that label. And then I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put him right here, and he's going to just be positioned so that he's the center there, I think. You know what? He's down. We're good. We'll add a little bit of foam behind this guy. Here. I'll put it towards the bottom because I have foam underneath that scallop strip. And I want to be able to slide this underneath. So I think that this guy is going to sit about right here. And so I want my little tag to go like that right there. cute, cute, cute. And then we'll put some foam behind the flower as well. Just in the center here. Actually, I'm going to move it towards the lower part of the flower because this is going to sit about there. All right, so there's that guy. What else do we need to add? We need to put our title down, and since this guy is chipboard, I'm just going to leave him flat and just add adhesive behind him so that he sticks nicely. All right. Just want to make sure that you get all these little areas like on the E and the S's that have these little tails on them, so that they don't accidentally get caught on something and get bent. So he is going to sit you know what? He's going to go here. I was going to move him a little to the right, but I think he's fine. And I love the color. Would be super cute white, but I love the color. All right. So now it's just all the little finishing details, right? So we've got this guy's done. We need our little flower and cherries will go here. This guy will keep for later. We've got a little pink flower that will go here. And let's see. So I'm going to keep, boy, this layout just might be one of the flatter ones that I've made in recent days anyway. So we're going to tuck this guy right here. And I want him to kind of probably going to put a little bit of foam right underneath where he's kind of hanging over so that this guy I'm going to put down there, and we've got the foam there, so that'll hold that. We need some foam on our cherries, so kudos to those of you who wanted to muscle through this. And then I'm going to put a little bit behind that leaf. right. And he's gonna sit, just be tucked right over the top of that. Yeah, I kind of do. So I think that I'm going to have to add an extra layer of here. Actually, I want him to be about right there, and then I'm going to have to add another little bit of foam behind that leaf because he's got 2 layers behind him because he's raised because of that one strip that has. All right, there we go. I'm just going to put a little pressure on that so that I hold it in place. All right. And I've got glue, but that's all right. Oh goodness, can I just have something stick right? Okay, there we go. Hopefully that'll stay. All right, so now we just have a few more things to add. We're going to put our little soda, which if he's not the cutest thing ever, I don't know what is. Put some foam behind him. I wish I could use tweezers so they keep my hands cleaner. So, I need to figure out where my sunglasses are going to sit first because he is going to go kind of under. So he's going to sit about right there. My sunglasses. I'm going to go here and just need a little bit of foam for those. Up. So they're going to kind of sit right here. Adhesive. And these. I'm curious, would you guys prefer more simple pages for these, or do you like them this way? I just want to make sure that nobody's struggling with what we're doing. Okay, so then this guy, I'm going to take a little puppy sticker, and he is going to sit right kind of under here. Little break up that line there and add another little curve. And then we've got some little cloud tags. Gosh, that cherry is going to be the death of me. It does not want to stay put. Ah. All right, let's try this again. All right. Okay, so let's add some little clouds here as well. We're going to put perfect. One about right here. And we'll take there's only two. Only two. I'll take this one and put him about here. Okay. Put him there. And then we've got some little cherry coffee stickers. I'm gonna put one of those right about here. And then a little puffy flower, this guy. And he's gonna sit right here. And then we've got a and another little it's a little yellow flower of some sort. So this guy, I think. And I want this guy, and I'm going to put him here, and then a little heart. Oh, what do I want? I want a pink one. There's a pink one here. This pink one. I'm going to set him here, and then maybe let's see. I was hoping I had another cloud, but I don't see it. So what I'm going to use instead, I think, is I'm going to use a couple of little dots here. And those are kind of the page there. Let's see. Another purple dot. Yes, I do. All right. Maybe we'll add a couple of dots down this way too, because to balance things out, to give a little of that sprinkled at the bottom there. And I think I'm going to also add a little let's do this. I'm going to do this and this and that. There. All right. I think we've done it, my friends. Oh, Nope, we have one more thing. We need to add a little foam button, and I think I'm going to, I want it to be kind of a purple one, so let's, I want purple, don't I? Do I want purple or do I want pink? And it's bigger. I actually like that. So I'm gonna do that. I'm probably gonna put some thread through that. But Melvin. Oh, remember I said that I needed another. I know I have. Maybe I'll put this. Since I put that other stuff up there, I'm going to put this cloud down here to kind of fill in that open space there. And I also think I want to add another button over here, and I'm going to put a purple one as well to kind of balance that out. All right, my friends, we did it. Although, am I missing a flower somewhere? But I am. This guy, I forgot about him. He's gonna be flat, but we're gonna turn his little petals up. And I'm gonna slip him in right here, and I'm just going to take another little something and put it in the center there. Kind of was hoping that, let's see. Actually, I think I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to put that there. I'm going to slip him here, and then I'm going to change the pink part to an orange one. That's better. Okay, I think we're good. I think I want this way. There. Yep. This makes it look like it's kind of rain. We're raining. Some little raindrops there. Okay. All right, my friends. I'm gonna flip this camera back. Hopefully. And then we should be able to see if I can get this thing to. Right. Okay, my friends, whoever stuck with me, I am highly impressed. I hope that I didn't bore you guys to death. I think that the pages that we made were really, really cute. We'll do this third page on Thursday. And it doesn't have as many finicky little pieces, but I will post a couple of tips to make it a little easier for everybody to prepare. So anyway, I hope that you guys all have enjoyed this. Here are the pages. Here's this one that we just finished. And then here is the other one that we did. So it takes a little extra time when you kind of transform your paper, but I think that the result that you get from trying to look at your supplies in a different way, I think is really satisfying. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. And I hope that you will take a moment and join our Craft and Connect community and jump right in, introduce yourself, and just start chatting with people. It's the best. The first message and the first post that you make is the most difficult. And once you do that, super friendly, welcoming group, and everybody is like chatting a ton. So it will be very, very easy, and you'll feel very much at home there. And we'll be sharing more projects this week and in the coming weeks. So I will post on our calendar. I think we'll do it on let's plan on Thursday afternoon. That'll be better for me because we've got our sale orders and we're going to be so busy shipping. So I think that I'll be able to free some time up on Thursday afternoon to finish up this third page. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Be sure to head over and shop if you haven't already done that. You've got a few hours left to pick up some of the things that you've been looking at and eyeing. And I know that this color kit isn't on sale, but I know that there's a bunch of other color kits that have Lindy's stuff in them. So if you want to give those a try, it's a great way to do it. Otherwise, you can pick up this one. And the colors that are included in our June color kit, they coordinate with a lot of the other things that are our other summer kits. So if you pick that one up, it's a good one. So thanks you guys for joining me, and I will see you on Thursday. I'll schedule the live here on YouTube. I'll also put it on our Craft and Connect calendar in our community, and I will share it also in our Facebook group. So you guys, thanks a lot. I hope you had fun. Kudos to you for sticking with me. Have a great rest of your weekend and good back to school. All right, you guys. Thanks, Tina. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you next week. Bye.